for my rescue. Kind of happy, sad news right now. I don't know if Skippy's going to make it. Anybody look back on my episodes? Skippy is my rescue, and just not looking very positive. Anybody's got a prayer for little Skippy and any other dog in the same situation, I would like you to give a little prayer out for those dogs. He's in the. He went to the vet. The vet says he can't do anything for him. He wanted to know if I'd put him down. Wanted to put him down. This is like $1,100 later. He wants to know if I'm gonna. It's only $600 to put him down. I said no. I don't think I want to put the dog down. I want to see if anything can happen to where I can maybe help the guy. But he says he said Skippy by his teeth. He knows by the teeth that Skippy is going to be you said between 12 and 15 years of experience. I said, it doesn't look like it. It looked like he was 5 years of experience. He said, no, you can tell by the teeth. Okay. No matter what, I'm going to do my best with whatever I got left in me to help this dog. And we'll see what happens. Okay, so happy Sunday, the 19th of October. God, I don't even know what I'm going to try to do here. I'll just do something off the cuff. Anybody's got any questions? I missed Friday. It's question day. One more. That's all you get. Question day was on Friday. I kind of missed that. So anybody got a question from their heart, give it to me. I'll do the best I can. So what we're going to do is a thumbnail. A thumbnail on, well, I've been thinking about it anyway. Rattlers. How do you deal with a rattler? Well, I'm out west. I've dealt with rattlers all my life. Different levels, different distances, but never, ever. Okay, my pinky to my thumb. Pinky to my thumb is 9 inches. I know it's 9 inches because I took carpentry at the Phoenix Union School, and this is 9 inches. And how we got a grade then was no hammer marks. But I could put an 8-penny nail in it in 3 shots with no hammer marks. So I might be somewhat of a carpenter. So 9 inches, I know this is the distance of what I came across in Wickenburg, Arizona, looking for amethyst and crystals. I'm going to say between 1980 and 82, because 80 to 85, I was driving Beacon's 40-footers, and the guy that taught me this was with me when we were looking for these crystals in Wickenburg, Arizona. So, first of all, what do we know about rattlers? What do we really know about rattlers? Well, I know I've seen them on the lakes swimming into people's boats. Yeah, rattlers swim. And a lot of them like to get into boats. I've had numerous stories on that one, but I can't go there. It's just that rattlers do go into boats. I don't know what it is about it. I've seen many people, well, they've actually shot at them. They've had oars that they try to kick them out. And the rattlers still try to get in their boat. I guess they're looking for somewhere warm or something. I don't know. Hey, so what do I got here? Got to take these sunglasses off. Don't need them really. Well, I got this tree protecting me right now, kind of. Okay, happy Sunday. What do we got here? Hey, YTTG 9090 Gaming Official. Crystals? Cool. That's absolutely correct. Crystals are cool. And, hey. It is pretty exciting. So what I want to say is, what is the lifespan of a rattler? They go into longevity. When I did that live where I I had to kill that pink rattler down at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. I wasn't proud of it because it had 17 rattlers at the end of it. And as I said before, it wasn't meant for me to have those rattlers because the big raven, big raven that came in and took it away from me. And the Indian told me it wasn't meant for me to have that. But I ate the snake. Now, pink rattlers, by the way, are endangered species. I didn't know that. But my Shih Tzu that was down at the bottom of the Grand Canyon stepped on his head while he's going into these bushes. And I knew my Shih Tzu and the geese hound, well, the other dog was going to be coming back. So I had to I had to take off his head. But we ate him. And that was how we got out of the Grand Canyon. I talked about that on the Grand Canyon one. There's two. You can check it out. Hey, BXP. What's up, muchacho? I'll tell you what's up. The thumbnail is... Oh, man. I've dealt with rattler snakes. Different snakes. But rattlers are ones that you kind of be concerned about. I got so many stories on it, I don't know where to start, but this is the one I'm going. 9 inches, pinky to thumb, that far. I came climbing up on a cliff that close, 9 inches from a rattler. Now, what is the story behind rattlers? That's a good question. Rattlers, their visibility varies. It varies from 15 foot to some of them, well, 15 foot with moving objects helps them, but there's a lot of them that are able to see like 900 to 1,000 feet away. I don't know what rattler I was dealing with, but I was 9 inches away from him, so he obviously knew that, well, that is our test. When we get 9 inches face to face with a rattler, what do you do? Well, I'm going to tell you the true story of what I did. And I'm still able to tell you this story. Where the guy that was with me, Dow, by the way, see, I was working for Beacon's moving company. I was driving 40 footers. We'd go in and load up and, like 40,000 pounds of somebody's house, 8-room local, and then we'd drop it off back to the people, Hey, Slay Green, something's happening here. Slay Green, love your hair. God bless you. Slay Green, Slay Queen, sorry. Still working with these glasses. Hey, VPX, I stopped on a big copperhead, last month, and he didn't get bit. So lucky. I had no phone, and he was deep in the woods. BPX, this is what I'm talking about. See, I said I dealt with many snakes when I was 10 years old, or 10 years of experience. I was in New Jersey. It was under an apple tree that I built a 2-story treehouse. That'll be another story. But I was going to climb up into my treehouse. It was an apple tree. And there was this copperhead right at the bottom of it, but I had my axe. See, if you don't remember, I had a double-edged axe that I had to chop down dead elm trees for like 3 years to just stay warm at the winter. We mixed our wood with our coal. We were working out of a furnace. Not that we were poor, but maybe we were. I, for 3 years, had to chop down dead elm trees, and well, that gave me extra strength, sure, but it was on an off day where I did not have to chop down a dead elm tree, and I was going to go up into my treehouse, and there was a copperhead right at the bottom of the tree, but I had my axe, so I chopped off his head. Now, it was just something I did, I mean, yeah, copperheads. Best to get rid of copperheads, water moccasins. But I'm saying, rattlers, they don't want to fight you. They're not aggressive. Well, unless you're in a canoe or a boat, they want to get into it. As I said earlier, I've seen so many things happen with people on the water, and rattlers swimming, wanting to get into their boat. God, I don't know. What are you going to do about that? I already mentioned that earlier, but it'd be a go get him, boy. Sounds like there's a little action out there. So what I'm going to say is, this is getting pretty exciting out here. Some guy tooting his horn out there. He sells this ice cream every about this time of day. Hey, he's an entrepreneur. Okay, so stepping on a copperhead, BXP, that's remarkable that you didn't get bit, because that's when you get bit. When you step on usually a snake, when you walk over a log, you don't look where you're going, and you step on a snake. But how possible is that? See, that's what I'm saying. I believe copperheads are pretty much in the same realm. He knew you were there, but he gave you a break. All right. How do I know that? Because snakes are most sensitive to 200 to 300 hertz. Hertz. I've talked about hertz. Hertz is like 1 hertz is 1 second. So if you have 200 to 300 hertz, that's within 1 second, and that's what snakes know about. Hey, humans do too, but I'll get into that in a moment. So a snake, well, let's just say rattlers that I know of, they say don't scream around them. In fact, I had an episode about 2 years ago. It's on this very topic that I have to change things around. See, I wasn't aware of it. Well, I know about the body temperature. Could be up to 150 feet. Now Google's saying, oh no, it's only 15 feet away that rattlers know you're around. Yeah, well, I don't know. Google keeps changing stuff around, but I'm going to say the visuals of, the snake's eyes are not like ours. They're on the side of their head. So the periphery is, or let's just say the focus is not as positive as what we got, but they have a sensory gland within them that's it's within their facial area, and also within their organs that can pick up heat temperature. And that's what I want to talk about. That the heat temperature part is very important. Why, you would ask? Why would heat temperature be so important? That's a good question. Because when you give out fear, your body raises its temperature. So every animal is able to pick this up. Dogs, horses, snakes. Every animal is capable of bringing, when you give out fear. When you give out fear, your body temperature raises, your heart accelerates, and adrenaline goes through your body. So these are some warnings that you might want to control your fear. Either you're going to do it or you're not. And I'm going to get into this story very shortly, how Uncle Martin, 9 inches away, pinky to thumb, that's as far as I was from a snake's face when I climbed up on the side of the cliff looking for amethyst and crystals in Wickenburg, Arizona. I don't want to repeat myself, but some people coming in late. So we got okay, they got an understanding of the rattlers do, of heightened sense of vibration. Rattlers have no ears. They can't hear very much. Yeah. And what they got though is an inner ear jawbone. An inner ear jawbone. It's allowing them to feel vibration. Okay? And that's from the ground and the air. Now, I always thought if you scream, ah, snake! See, that's what I was saying. 2 years ago, that's what happened. I'll go into the story, but my buddy behind me, that's what he was screaming at me when I mentioned there was this rattler up ahead. That wouldn't that would not have had him getting bit. But by him screaming, Rattler! What would have happened was his adrenaline rate would have went up, his heat body temperature would have went up, and the snake would have said, "This guy, I cannot hear what he's saying, but by his temperature rate, he's going to do me harm." It would have been bit between the eyes. So it's pretty much what it would have been. I'm going to get to how I got out of this situation. But one more little tidbit of information is the comparison of the human versus the snake on what we are capable of hearing. Now, we hear between 20 to 20,000 hertz. Hertz. What's a hertz? Again, a hertz is, well, let's just say 20 hertz. 20 hertz means bada bing, bada bing, bada bing, within 1 second. So 20,000 hertz, bada bing, bada bing, 20,000 hertz within 1 second. So that is our capability of hearing. It's pretty important. I'll get into that at another time. So the human voice, la 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 la, goes from 500 to 1,000 hertz. So our human voice goes 500 to 1,000 hertz, but the rattler can't hear 200 to 300 hertz. I mean, the rattler has between 2 and 300 hertz of through the jawbone and everything of hearing. So they can't really hear a scream, but they can pick up the vibration of your heat temperature from 150 feet away, which I've said before, to 15 feet away. I was closer to 9 inches. And that is where the story is going. This is going to be a short one because I get back to Skippy. He's not doing very well. I got him back from the doctor, and he says there's nothing you can do for him. He had ringworm. I was able to cure that, but he's got stuff in his eyes and there's stuff in his stomach, and it's $1,100 later, and they want me to put him down, and I'm not going to do it. He's laying on the couch now. He's breathing normal. I just got to get him to drink water. Can't get dehydrated when you're an animal. Anybody, you got to drink water. You can not eat for many days, but you got to have water. And he's not been drinking water for the last 24 hours. That's my concern right now. All right, so let's get on with the story. I don't want to delve into negativity here. So I'm in Wickenburg, Arizona. We're looking for gems and amethyst, which is a lot up there in Wickenburg, Arizona. So we're coming in. Dow, the guy that showed me how to drive Beacon 40-foot trucks backwards in figure eights so I can get my driver's license, well, my OK at Beacon's Moving Company. Yeah, it's another story. So before we're climbing up, the water is rushing through, and there's a lot of this is mid-July, and at the end there's a lot of dead debris of wood. A lot of wood going on. A lot of wood going on to where it's all built up like wood. And I said, Dow, we're not going to go over that way because there's rattlers down there. It's mid-July. I know there's rattlers down there. He says, oh, really? Rattlers? I said, yeah, well, we're not going there. We're going to go up the side of the cliff here. And I know there's some gems up here. I was told this before, that in these little cubby holes where there's amethyst and quartz crystals. So as I climb up, there's like one little cubby hole that I climb up to, put my feet into that. There's the next little cubby hole. I climb up and get my feet into that. Now I'm going into the third little cubby hole. And as I'm pulling myself up, Dow's kind of like on the first cubby hole. It's kind of a little slower. So as I get my hands up on the next place where I'm going to pull myself up, I pull myself up, and my face, my nose, and my eyes are looking at a rattler whipping around his tail. His tongue's going out 1,000 times a minute, and his eyes are black and beady, like they say rattlers are. That's no lie. But my hands are up on this cliff, and my face, my, my face is looking right at him, 9 inches away. 9 inches away. Well, what do you do? Well, I knew the law. The law was, first of all, you don't scream, let alone you have to control your emotions. You have to control your emotions for this reason. If you do not, when people go into hysteria and screaming and they raise up their adrenaline rate, raises up their body heat. I've known about this forever. And I wasn't going to, well, that was my test. When I pulled myself up and I'm looking at this rattler 9 inches away from my nose. I'm not giving anybody a sign here, but in front of my nose, what are you going to do? So I looked at him, and I had a little bit of fear coming up. I said, no more fear. So the fear went away. It comes up from your gut, by the way. That'll be another story. So I didn't have any fear for him, but what am I going to do now? He's rattling. He's all curled up. A rattler's curled up, rattling away. That means they're going to strike at you at any second. And I had nothing except what I remembered to be true. Stay calm. Do not give out fear. And say something positive. So that's what I did. I thought in my mind, what is the most harmless thing that I could think of at this moment? I was going to think of a kitty, but I went more for a puppy. And the puppy that I thought of was a big fluff ball. And in my mind I said, with all the love in my heart, I said, hello, puppy. And you know what he did? His tongue was going 1,000 times a minute. His rattler was going crazy. And all of a sudden, his rattler stopped a little bit. And his tongue went just a little bit to where I could count. See, snakes have forked tongues. Did you know that? They say, Indians say, he speaks with forked tongue. That means you speak on different levels of truth. You speak maybe a lie and a truth. And that's what Pythagoras is talking about. Pythagoras saying how the why, there's both positive and negative. That'll be another story. So I want to stay with the topic here. So when I said, hello, puppy, he got to where he was calmer. He wasn't rattling away. He was still curled, but he was rattling less. And when I said, in my mind now, I'm saying, well, how am I going to get out of this? He's already calmed down. I've calmed this guy down. He's not going to strike me, maybe. And I just said, again, with all the love in my heart, I said, hello, puppy. I'm going back down. Now, I'm holding on the side of this cliff. All he sees is my head. But my vibration is saying, I'm not going to, well, he couldn't understand what I'm saying other than, hello, puppy, maybe. I'm going back down. And once I did that with all the love in my heart, still holding on the side of the cliff, he stopped. He didn't quite stop his tongue, but it was going very, very, very slow. So he was still picking up my heat temperature, which I had no fear. So when I pulled up to the guy, I had no more adrenaline going through me and no more heat. The heat is the temperature gauge that they pick up. If it rose up, that means you're done for. So it never rose. I kept totally calm. I had more love for this guy than, well, for a little puppy. And his tail actually stopped rattling. It just was like up in the air. And I was able to count One, two, three, four. I counted seven rattlers. That means he was 7 years of experience. Not like the other rattler I got, who was 17 years of experience. I feel really bad about that guy down the bottom of the Grand Canyon, but hey, we were starving. And not only that, but my dog stepped on his head, and he was going to come back. I made a split-second decision. I will never kill another snake, by the way. Um, no, I know too much. I know enough to where they don't want. The only reason they're rattling or they want to get you is because they fear, they want to get away from you. I guess unless you're on some island, there's some aggressive snakes that come out and try to bite you. But I don't know. I guess isn't there ways of working with them too? I don't know. Maybe someday I'll go check it out. So what we got is me now saying, "Hello, puppy. I'm going back down." And now I'm coming down. Now as I come down, now Dal's coming and say, "Hey, what's the holdup up there?" I said, "Hey," calmly, when I got my footing on the next level, I turned around and I said, "Hey, Dal, Dal, I don't think we should go up any further." He says, "Why not?" I said, "Because there's a rattler." Rattler! And he turns around, jumps off into the water. It's about a 15-foot drop. Jumps off into the water of Wickenburg's water. And son of a gun. What would have happened if I climbed up there, got face to face with the rattler and said, "Rattler!" Well, first of all, he couldn't hear me. That's my point. I just went over the hertz of how much they can hear. He would have not heard my scream. But he would have felt the rise of my body temperature, the adrenaline that went through me, raising my body temperature, and very well it wouldn't have not been very positive. This is my conclusion, is a possibility. It's only a hypothesis. We don't know. Because Dal he wasn't first. I was. I think that may have been a blessing here. So, Wickenburg, Arizona is what I was going to say. Damn, I want to stop right now because we're going on to about 27 minutes. Man. But I got one more short story. It's about truth on how we've been fooled about history. All right? Now, not far from where I live, there is a armory that I told you about before. The Vortex, the Buttes on the live that I did, the Buttes, and how the fence was put up because some stupid idiot that I was with turned on the water from the armory, and now we have a fence all around it. Well, prior to that, in the 40s, it's the armed guard. There were helicopters coming up and stuff like that. But what happened was in the 40s, it was Quonset huts for the Germans. They caught Germans and they put them over there. Now, there was an escape. How did they escape? Well, they had spoons. And they dug a little tunnel. Not a tunnel, but they dug down about 2.5 feet down in the rock. So that took a while. And as they dug down in the rock, they had, this is like the Great Escape or something, you know? I mean, well, it was a great escape. That's what I'm saying. The Germans did escape. How did they do it? Well, they did it with orange boxes and stuff like that. They got through the tunnel that they were making, and like whatever the amount of guys were, and I'm guessing 40 to 52 people. I'm only throwing it out there as a ballpark. Now, when you look this up, the escape from Phoenix, Arizona, in the 40s, the Germans that escaped, that went to Wickenburg. Check it out, because these Germans had a map. The map was of this waterway that I'm talking about that Dow jumped into. It's probably bigger back then, but I don't know. They thought they could swim to the next level, which didn't work out well because they got to Wickenburg. All these Germans that escaped went to Wickenburg. Now they went to Wickenburg, and it was during the dry season, so there was no water. So they all got arrested, and they were chained to this. They didn't have a jail back then, so they were chained to this area. It's kind of a big oak tree or something over there, something like that. So until they got taken back. My point being, I did some research on it, which you probably can't find right now, because I doubt if you can, because I Googled all this stuff, and back 20 years ago, I was able to get on the it was a barbed wire. It was all barbed wire, and it said restricted and all that stuff, but they gave the story of what I'm telling about right now, and they tell a total, because everyone was caught, is what happened on this escape, but they didn't escape. Well, there was like seven guys that escaped. Who were these guys? Well, they were blonde and blue-eyed, and they spoke English. So these guys did not go with the crew that was going to go follow this map to get up to Wickenburg. Is like quite a few miles from Phoenix. You can Google it, but it was no easy trip. So they got to the dry waterbed, and at that point, they didn't speak much English. They looked like Germans. They were arrested. But the other 7 were a little smarter. They went down Van Buren Street, which isn't far from this from the armory, and they hitchhiked to the Adams Hotel. Now, I know the Adams Hotel very well, because when I was in high school, we used to go there. I know I shouldn't say this, but we had a few drinks. Now, we weren't quite of age, but Adams Hotel didn't care. So down in the basement, they used to serve you drinks if you were in high school. And so I remember the Adams Hotel when it came up with this information. So these 7 guys, 7 guys, went. There was a cook, there was a chef, there was a busboy. They had all the levels. One of them became a manager. They worked there for 3 years. 3 years they worked at Adams Hotel. They got enough money to where they took a boat trip back to Germany, and they told their story. So, how much of history is really true? I tell you this, history is a lie from the beginning. You have to really search into things to find out the truth. And that's my point. Do the search. So, I just wanted to throw that last one in there on Wickenburg. Not just that I had a snake situation, but there was people that got chained to a tree because they didn't have a jail at that time in the 40s. I think they got one now. So anybody out there that's left so far, give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down. Give me a prayer for Skippy, who's on the couch. I don't know if he's going to make it or not. God willing, he will. If not, I don't even want to think about it. But yeah, subscribe to me or not, I don't care. If you do, I'll join your club. And if you're not going to join, that's okay. No pressure. Just throwing it out there. So until I see you guys again, it's Monday tomorrow. What is that, the 20th of October? Do the best I can getting out there at 5 o'clock. Until then, be well, God victory. And whatever you do, make sure you do it well. Take care.